Hello, this is Ron Creasha with Golden Shovel Agency, and I just wanted to take a minute to let all those that are registering and coming in right now that we're going to give you about another minute or two while we let everyone get settled in and fully engaged in the Zoom webinar before we jump into it. So I just want you to sit back, maybe refill your coffee, and know you've got about 90 seconds before we kick off this great webinar with Mark Hayes from SizeUp. All right, well, hello again. Again, this is Ron Creasha, Chief Operating Officer and CFO at Golden Shovel Agency. And I have with me today, I'm very excited to bring into our webinar series, Mark Hayes from SizeUp. Mark and his team, we've known them for quite a while, and they're just absolutely the consummate experts when it comes to data and research. And their SizeUp solution really is a way for entrepreneurs and businesses to look at getting past this COVID crisis and using good solid data to try to reclaim some of those lost revenues that are being out there and experienced right now. And so we, of course, can provide the communications and the tools on the front end, but as I was talking to Mark earlier, without that real solid direction on the research, you're just taking a wet finger and sticking it in the air and hoping you know where the wind blows. So, Mark, I want to welcome you to the webinar, and I'm going to turn it over and excited to hear your solutions and your product.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad that a couple Golden Shovel customers came on recently to provide a tool for the businesses that are in their community that are struggling right now. Struggling because they're not allowed to open, or they can't open, or they're not allowed to run at the capacity that they're used to running at. And they are struggling to find online resources designed to help them. There's a lot of tools out there in economic development that are really meant for expert users. And it's hard to get the attention of those experts right now. If you were going into an SBDC that's not allowed to open right now, you're having to do everything virtually. So they're struggling to find online resources as a solution to help them grow their businesses once they're allowed to open. And I know as of right now today, many states have opened back up, and businesses still are going to need these resources to figure out, how do I use the limited amount of budget I have to make decisions about, where to advertise, where to find customers, where to find potential suppliers throughout the state, because my supplier was overseas and I'm not allowed to get shipments from them right now. So our tool has really caught fire over the last 6 to 8 weeks during coronavirus. It's a great way. Some new customers have said, you know what, I've been meaning to have a BR&E program for a year now, for 2 years, for 5 years, and I just haven't done it. Now's the time for me to do it. And guess what? You can have an entire BR&E program start with using our software, with having SizeUp on your website. Doesn't require you to go visit anyone. Doesn't require you to call anyone who's not in their office right now. They can actually grow their businesses directly from your website. So with that being said, I wanted to show everybody how you can use our tool, how our tool would look on your Golden Shovel website, and then how it would just be there for a novice to use. Our tool is designed for the novice. So we want the small business owners to be on your website using our tool at their leisure anytime they want to, and it would be absolutely free to the businesses in your community. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, which we should be sharing. And we're taking a look at the Gilbert, Arizona SizeUp tool. We are not a new company. So this isn't just somebody who popped up during a crisis. Gilbert, I believe, has been customers of ours for probably 6 or 7 years. So like I said, I was talking to some of the guys with Golden Shovel about new customers that came on that happened to be Golden Shovel customers. And they said that they wanted to do more to help. And they are going to help everybody out. They're actually going to waive, or we're going to waive, all of our setup fees for Golden Shovel customers to get this tool embedded onto your website. So there wouldn't be any of that initial setup fee cost that is typically there with uploading software. So I'm going to click around the tool. Somebody probably will be moderating questions. If not, I can always click back over there. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but we'll click through the tool, show you how easy it is to use. Pay attention to those things, how easy it is to use and how great the data is that's industry specific and geographic specific for small businesses, for medium businesses. There's different uses across the board. So as we click through it, you'll see that it's directly embedded onto the Gilbert, Arizona site. And then it's 4 tools built into one. The first being our business and industry analysis. This is industry specific benchmarking. So you don't have to know any NAICS codes. You simply need to describe what it is you do. And our industry list is very deep. Most any industry you think of is going to be within our tool. For the sake of a demo, you want to show something you know shows up everywhere and it's relatable. So I will say that I am a coffee shop. Notice I just typed coffee. This wasn't hard at all. I know kind of what I am. I'm a coffee shop located in Gilbert, Arizona. If you are a county-wide organization or a regional organization or state organization, every city within your territory would be listed here. This tool is just for the town of Gilbert, so it's defaulted to it, which is how yours would look if it was just with your city. So I'm a coffee shop in Gilbert, Arizona. Hit create. It's not hard to know what it is I do and where it is I do it at. Now you get our benchmarking. This is specific to SizeUp. This is going to show you where your business is strong, where it's not so strong. It's going to show you how you compare to people who do exactly what you do. Or maybe you've just worked for a coffee shop in the past, but right now you're like, you know what? I want to control my own destiny once this is over and I want to start my own coffee shop. Let's see if I can write up a business plan with some reasonable numbers. So if I thought I could make $1 million a year as a coffee shop, type that into the revenue here, and SizeUp's going to super crunch literally millions of data points and tell you within your city, your county, your metro, the state, and the nation where $1 million a year would put you in total revenue. And you see in Gilbert, Arizona, that puts you, $350,000 ahead of what the average coffee shop is doing. So if you were just that startup with a dream, the first metric here is going to show you probably unlikely that I'm going to achieve that $1 million per year. On the other side of that, if you're an existing coffee shop and you on a typical year do make $1 million a year in revenue, you see you're crushing it. You're one of the top players in this space. And yeah, things are rough right now. So if you needed some kind of loan, if you're going to a lender for some money for a bridge loan, you would see, hey, I do better than what most do in this town. And that's going to help them feel confident that you've got this figured out. And that's just with one metric. We have heat maps throughout the tool as well. So you're getting a visual representation of the data you're looking at here. So the areas in the darkest red, that's where coffee shops are performing the best. And the lightest yellow, where they're not performing so well, and everywhere in between. So I could go visit the coffee shops in these areas and see, what do those neighborhoods look like? What are they doing differently? What's inside it look like? How are they achieving so much more revenue than what they're doing in the other areas? Also could obviously make location decisions based off that information. Next is the year you started. So what's been trending in this industry? Is it growing? Is it declining? And again, in our benchmarking section, you get all the way out to national data. So you get plotted on a map how many coffee shops opened year in and year out over the last 10 years is where my green line is. And then prior to that as well. So you see, it's definitely a growing industry on a national scale. You can uncheck national, look at just the state and local level, or just the local level and get an exact picture of, yeah, this is a booming business. Coffee shops are something that have really taken off in the Phoenix metro area. Next is the average salaries you pay your employees. So if I'm going to pay my employees $20,000 on average, I know that's not a lot of money, but that's what I can afford. Well, it actually is a lot of money. In Maricopa County, Arizona, the average coffee shop employee makes $14,600 per year. So if I was that potential startup person thinking of starting a business, I'm already projecting I'm going to make 30% more revenue than what average does in Gilbert. And now I'm saying I'm going to pay my employees 25% more than what the average business does. I'm optimistic, but let's use data to make more, relevant, or more importantly, I guess, educated decisions. Next is the number of employees I have. I have 20 employees I think it's going to take to run my coffee shop, or I am a current coffee shop that has 20 employees. Yes, that's a small business, but it's a giant coffee shop. In Gilbert, Arizona, the average coffee shop has 12 employees. So if I'm an actual business here making $1 million a year revenue, paying my employees 25% more than what the average coffee shop does. And then I have almost twice as many employees as what the average coffee shop employs. I'm showing I'm definitely a big player in this space, and I'm basing it off data, not just saying I am, but I am. I'm a very large coffee shop in Gilbert, Arizona. more heat maps throughout the tool, more analysis happening throughout the benchmarking section of the tool, that if you're the user, you're going to want to read through all of this. It's going to tell you things like how cost effective your business is. It's going to tell you your expected revenue per capita. So where is the highest revenue per capita compared to the highest total revenues? And are there some areas where there might be some opportunity per person to gain some more money? And then expected local turnover. If I'm, knocking myself over the head over a 10% turnover rate every year, and I don't understand why I'm doing so poorly, well, the data would suggest you're not doing poorly. The average coffee shop in Maricopa County, Arizona, actually has an 18% turnover rate. It's a strong point that you thought was weak. And then you can even drill down healthcare costs. If I think I'm going to pay healthcare next year, I'm going to pay $6,000 per year per employee is what I think I can budget. Well, in Arizona, about $5,100 is all it's taking on average. And then lastly is workers' compensation. How many dollars per $100 per employee am I paying towards workers' comp? At the end, you get a summary view button. You get the total or the category amount, where my business falls, and then no MBA required, no amount of expertise in data required to understand 87th percentile. Okay, I'm pretty far ahead of the game, or even more simple, in the green ahead, yellow kind of where my competitors are, and red less than where my competitors are. So you get a great snapshot of the health of your business. Or if you're thinking of starting a business, what's kind of achievable and what's probably unlikely. And it's just typing numbers into boxes, getting decades worth of market research here that you can analyze. So that's the benchmarking section of our tool. There's 3 more tools to look at here. If you had any questions about that, if anyone's burning on your mind, go ahead and type it in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to it throughout the tool. So next, go
Mark,
ahead. Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, just one question that came in. So great overview on that side of it. Can you give me a quick example of a successful, somebody that successfully used your benchmarking tool?
Well, I guess it depends on what you want success to mean. So in terms of businesses, it's just literally anybody using the tool is going to have, quote, success. They might be given news that they didn't like, right? Like in this case, if I'm a startup, I'm seeing news that's like, oh, everything I thought I could achieve, I could not. But if I'm an existing business, I'm saying, wow, I'm a huge player in this space. I didn't know how well I was doing until I saw the data. So for our benchmarking, it's hard to give specific examples on small businesses because we don't work directly with the small business. We work with the economic development organization who then provides it to the small business. So it's hard to give exact examples of businesses that use it successfully, but I can tell you that this tool has been used thousands of times in the last month alone, just for businesses wanting to benchmark what they're doing versus others.
Sure. And one of the things you said there that I think is very important is a business may not get information and I'm going to stop and turn it a different direction. Necessarily not that they don't want, but information that's contrary to what their plans were. And the reason I bring that up is because, as we know, business is a winding path, and it's finding the best data points to put you on the right path. So I think that's very important. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this type information is the information that big businesses are using before they make decisions about what they're going to do. They don't use intuition about where they're going to open a business or what type of business they're going to open or what town they're going to open it in. They use data. And it's this type of data that they're using that now somebody that has no background and no resources to get this information, well, now they have a resource via your economic development website. So thanks for the question. Next is the competition section of the tool. So this part of the tool, again, huge uptick since we started it. And you can use, we can use different examples here. We can modify this, and just to show, it's actually great to show on webinars, different industries that you can use. It's not just for retail or just for any type of service industries, but you can even see if I was wanting to, I'm a manufacturer wanting to find out where my competitors are, where some supply chain stuff is. You can see that I just type manufacturing. I don't just say I'm a manufacturer. I say specifically what it is that I make to make sure we're comparing apples to apples here. Or if I'm a restaurant, I don't say I'm just a restaurant because, there's a lot of different types of restaurants. You get to tell the tool exactly what you do so that it can find you exactly what you want. For the sake of the demo, again, we'll say something I know is everywhere. We're a furniture store. So I'm a furniture store located in Gilbert, Arizona. First thing it's going to do is show me where all my competitors are located. That's obviously important information to know. There's only a limited amount of dollars being spent in your industry, and it's good to know where the people whom you're competing with those dollars, where they're located at throughout your entire region. So Speaking of those dollars, there's a big consumer expenditures button here. It's big and blue, and obviously you want to click it. There's an arrow. So you click on the arrow and you can actually pull a heat map of consumer expenditure information. So where do people live that are spending the most money in my industry? And again, we keep it really simple. If I'm a furniture store, I'd want to know, okay, household furnishings, a word that says exactly furniture store. And then you can even get more specific than that. This amount of information is fantastic, but you can even say, hey, maybe I'm a mattress store or sofas or outdoor furniture. We'll click sofas. Now we're finding out where people live that are spending the most money on sofas, and we get to compare that to where I have competitors. That's information that's you can make decisions off of. So I want to know, like, hey, where is there an area where there's few or no competitors compared to high household consumer expenditures? So people in certain areas over here on the northeast side of town, they're having to leave where they are to get this need met elsewhere, but the households are spending more money in my industry here than they are in some areas where there are competitors. So it shows you, hey, there's some opportunity that others don't know exists, and you would only know if you had the data in front of you. So if you sell directly to the consumer, that's the most important thing to know. Where is the consumer that's spending money in my industry, and how does that compare to where I have competitors? We also have an entire business to business part of the tool. So that's for competitors, but if you sell to other businesses, again, really easy to understand, right? Sell to other businesses, question mark. Let's click on that. And now we enter the industry that we might sell to. So we had coffee shops loaded earlier, so we'll go with them. Maybe I sell sofas to coffee shops, and it keeps you sitting in your coffee shop because our sofas are super comfortable, and I'm just gonna buy cups of coffee all day once we're allowed to sit in coffee shops again and use free Wi-Fi. So I can go and type whatever industry I want to here and find my potential customers. This part of the tool has been, honestly, this part of the tool has been the reason that some of our customers have come on board lately, because this is supply chain. This is finding businesses within your region to do business with rather than rely on somebody overseas, which a pandemic can shut down pretty quickly. So you get to see, yes, this is a basic example, just looking at coffee shops, but in any industry, there's going to be potential customers and suppliers that you don't know about, which SizeUp's going to help you find. And it's going to give you contact information with it. So you can click on them and you can get their contact information, get their names, get their address, their phone number, get their websites where they have one listed. And now we've created an entire lead list of potential customers within your area where you can get page after page after page of contact information of potential customers that you can call on and potential suppliers. Buy from other businesses, question mark, click on that. Type the industries that are potential suppliers of yours. So if you're looking for furniture manufacturers, I don't know how popular that is in the Phoenix metro area, but there's more than I thought. You're getting potential suppliers here. So maybe previously I was buying my sofas from somewhere in North Carolina that things got weird now because of the pandemic or whatever. Now I can see potential suppliers of mine here with contact information as well. So this is the information businesses want to know. If I'm selling directly to the consumer, where are the consumers located at, and how does that compare to people who I compete with? If I'm wanting to find business customers and suppliers, just type the industries that would be customers or suppliers of yours. Very, very simple. Also worth mentioning, we have PDF buttons throughout the tool, so you can convert to PDF and get nice, clean, printed version of whatever it is that you're looking at. I did see this question come in. Sorry, looking at it right now. By showing the businesses is in an area for supply chain, does SizeUp help us promote our local businesses and help grow our local economy and economic multiplier? Yeah, of course it does. Ideally, if you were a city group or a county group, you'd want to keep all of that business where you're located at. That's the entire goal, right? Get it on both ends. And this part of the tool is helping you do exactly that. So you're finding potential customers, maybe within your community, within your city, and also potential suppliers. So you're taking in that, that economic multiplier is going to be fantastic. And at the same time, you're finding consumers within the town that are spending money on potentially businesses outside of your city. You're able to capture those customers. And, that's always good for the local government, right? To get it, that tax base is in many places that you can. Fantastic question there. That is exactly what this part of the tool is designed to do. So that's the competition section of the tool. The third of the 4 tools that are built into every SizeUp LBI tool is the advertising part of the tool. So in the advertising section of the tool, most of the time when small businesses decide, hey, where am I going to advertise? They just guess. They're just like, hey, that seems like a really busy road. I'm going to put a billboard up there, or I'm going to do, ads in a certain zip code or whatever. And they just assume that's where they should because they think that's where the rich people live. It's definitely not always the case. In certain industries, there are probably parts of town that might be more advantageous for advertising, might see more people who would do business with you that you wouldn't have thought of without the data. So we'll modify the industry again, and we'll actually say that we are a dentist office. Dentists, they're actually one, not a lot realize that, but in terms of healthcare, they were one of the first to have to like stop practicing during the coronavirus pandemic, just because you're in people's mouths, you're spraying water, there's a high chance of spreading. So dentists, I can tell you for sure where I am, are really scrambling to find opportunity now that they're being allowed to open on a modified schedule, or they're about to be allowed to open. They're definitely looking, how can I capture some revenue? So in the advertising section of the tool, you just tell the tool that you're an office of dentistry. So I'm a dentist office. The first thing it's going to do is show you where the most total revenue is being generated within the area by other dentist offices. So the ones in the darkest red, that's where dentists are performing the best, and the lightest yellow is where they're performing the worst. So if I'm wanting to advertise and just follow where the most dollars are being earned, well, that's what this part of the tool is going to tell you. Like, hey, over here, that this is where there's a high amount of revenue made by other dentists, and also in this area, somewhat in this southeast area over here. So if you just want to follow total revenue, the tool is going to do that. But we can also think deeper about it, maybe find an area that has high revenue per capita, but total revenues might not be as high, just because there's less people. That is definitely more invisible data. So software is really the only way you're going to know that. So now we've highlighted a couple fresh areas here where it's like, hey, per person, they're spending more money in dentistry. So that might be a demographic you could capture without others knowing it was there, unless they were using technology to figure it out. Lastly, you can find most underserved markets. So where are the areas where there's less money being earned as compared to the consumers and where they're spending money? Where do those two numbers not quite line up? So this area over here is a potential underserved market. Can't tell you exactly why. We can just tell you that that part of town is potentially underserved, and you should look more into that area. This is information that would definitely, you would have no idea that's a potential underserved market if you didn't have the data in front of you showing you that. Most people are just going to follow where they think people are doing the best, that total revenue button. But you want to keep breaking this down and think deeper about it. So if that's not specific enough for you, I'd say, wow, it's industry specific and super geographic specific here. How's that not enough? Well, we have a more filters button. So click on more filters, and you can make that radius larger, you can make it smaller, different industry performance metrics, or some basic demographic characteristics. So maybe I'm a pediatric dentist specifically. So I want to know households that are most underserved, that have a median age between 18 and 45 years old, because that's when I think people are having children. That's going to make the most sense for my office. You see, as I drag that scale, the map updates to show you where the areas now are the potentially most underserved based off that criteria. Or if I'm an orthodontist, so I want to target higher household incomes that are most underserved with median ages between 18 and 45 years old, I can drag multiple scales, and the tool is going to update areas more and more to show you which areas have the highest likelihood of a successful advertising campaign. Or, it doesn't have to be just for advertising. We had to call it something. You could make a location decision off of this. You could say, you know what, I'm going to open my business in this area because the data would suggest that there's a market there that's really could do business with me that isn't really with anyone else. So you're using data to make really smart decisions about your business, as basic as just, I want to advertise in this area, or as important as I'm going to open a location here, and I'm using the data to drive that decision forward. So that's the third section of our tool. The fourth is our demographics section. And, demographics, everyone on the call, I'm sure you know what demographics are, so I don't have to explain that. Even small businesses are starting to realize that they should be looking at demographics when making decisions about where their, market might be located. But I will tell you that most demographic tools, it gives information that's really relevant to big businesses, but pretty irrelevant to small businesses. And this is a great example of it on this tool. So you're seeing 250,000 people located in Gilbert, and then a breakdown of those people. A big business, that's all they need to know. They'll figure out where certain markets are located within the town. They just want to know the total number. For a small business, this is, all but useless to say, hey, if your target market is 30 to 39-year-olds, well, there's 38,000 of them of this 250,000. Good luck finding them. What SizeUp can do, click on one of these eyeballs. It's going to give you block group level data about exactly where the densest populations of that group are located. So I can see like, okay, let's find the neighborhoods that have the densest population of 30 to 39-year-olds. So I can scroll through here and I see, oh, here's a darker orange area. So I can zoom into these streets and find these couple of neighborhoods that have a higher population of 30 to 39-year-olds than any of the other areas surrounding. And I can scroll through the entire town of Gilbert here to find just pockets of the target market I'm looking for. That is relevant to any sized business. You can also draw custom boundaries. So second way to get our demographics, draw your own custom boundaries. I know some people listening to this right now, they may have an organization that, crosses city lines or crosses county borders, may even cross state borders. So you would have to run multiple reports and be able to triangulate and figure out the areas you're looking for. And that doesn't sound like something that a small business is going to be able to do. Well, what ours can do is actually just click on the map anywhere you want. You can draw a polygon. Now I've crossed into 4 different cities and only parts of each of those cities. Hit continue. I can get demographics, consumer expenditures, or labor force information that only fall within that polygon. So now I'm saying like, okay, I've pulled into 4 different cities and there's 296,000 people and a breakdown of those people, which at any point I can put a heat map layer on top of it. So really useful, especially with a regional group that you don't have to run 10 different reports. I can simply search an area I want to look for. And then the third way to pull our demographics, consumer expenditures, or labor force is around an address. So you can type in any address that you want to. Go in, maybe you're considering moving to a couple different addresses and it needs to be located in a certain area, or there needs to be a certain amount of demographics within 1 mile or within 10 miles or within 60 miles. Our tool will go 1 mile all the way out to 60 miles or 1 minute drive time all the way out to 60 minutes drive time. So if I want to know a labor force that could get to that address in 20 minutes drive time or less, click just 3 buttons, right? Super easy. This is never going to be, no one's going to tell you this is too complicated to use. This is very easy for a novice user. And you get to see there's 6,000 plus total establishments and a breakdown of those establishments. So again, by drive time, I can get demographics, consumer expenditures, or labor force. It's going to be a pretty abstract shape, obviously, because it's drive time and different driving routes take different amounts of time. So that is the tool in a nutshell. You could obviously spend a ton of time on it. I told the guys that I could do it in definitely about 20 to 25 minutes, but it's also cool to know that a small business could use a half hour of their time to gain more information than they ever could have known about their business and know where there's opportunity to grow their businesses in less than a half an hour and be able to do it directly from the comfort and safety of their own homes in the middle of the night if they want to. It doesn't require anybody to help them through it. So that is SizeUp as a whole. I see a bunch of questions popped in. Can businesses take the information and use it for any type of advertising? Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage, really, no matter what you're doing, any decision you're making, I would definitely use the data to drive that decision. You don't want to be, why fish in an ocean and just be casting at random when you could put them into a smaller barrel and try to catch a fish that way. So definitely, I use it at any point in your business for sure.
And Mark, if I could just jump in here. So
Yeah, of course.
that's a really interesting conversation pivot point, because so many times we're working with clients that want to use Google ads or Facebook ads, and you're limited to the keyword searches, you're limited to the content and all that. This is another way to re-examine that audience that I think could lead a community or a business into a whole other set of advertising and audience capture tools. So that's just fantastic.
Yeah. It's just you're making decisions with data and you're able to analyze it on your own, and it's not requiring an expert who knows anything about data. Literally, if you know nothing about data and information, you can use our tool and see some heat maps where there's pockets of customers. Very simple, and it's useful to literally any size business, from the one person to a large business. Definitely, you'd want this information. Somebody asked about making sure your tool's used. How do you recommend we launch SizeUp so that it gets publicity? It's obviously important that if you as an economic development organization are going to provide something like this on your website, you want to make sure people are using it. And there's a multitude of ways that gets done. We have seen over the last decade what works and what doesn't, and we help our customers. We have a customized marketing and implementation plan that we provide to you once it's done. We have a press release. It's obviously great to get any press on the tool. I know Golden Shovel's been, getting people to visit people's websites for a very long time as well. So as a partnership, you're going to have every resource that you could imagine to help your tool get used. And we've seen very high use. I can tell you one example out of Sacramento. We had a customer launch their tool, and 5 days later, their SizeUp tool became the most clicked part of their websites in an aggregate 6-month period. So every other part of their website had 6 months to get clicks, and their SizeUp tool reached the highest number in 5 days. So yeah, that's pretty good. Either nobody visited their website ever, which I don't think is true. It just shows you how well we can get clicks to the tool, which is obviously important. You want your tool being used.
And let me ask on that, and maybe I missed this, and if I did, I'm asking the obvious question. But so a community purchases or installs the SizeUp product on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean all the entrepreneurs and all the business people have a license to log in and use that tool for their decisions? How does that work?
Yeah, fantastic question. So we SizeUp do not require any login. You don't have only a certain amount of subscriptions to the tool. It's actually completely open source. For example, what we looked at Gilbert today, that's not a demo website. We were literally just a visitor to their website. So it is there and able to access by anybody who has access to that part of your website. So if it's your desire to just leave it open so as many businesses can get to it as possible, then that is certainly an option. We do have a couple customers who decide to put it behind a login part of their website. And most of those customers, I'll tell you, are usually membership type organizations where they just want to restrict it to members. But for the most part, people leave it open access. And I like it that way because then there's no barriers to using the tool. You just visit whatever part of your website it's on. So put a link to it on your homepage that goes directly to your tool, and boom, there it is. Or put the tool on your homepage if you like. I'm not going to tell you not to. So yeah, it's available to as many people who want to be able to access the tool, and it doesn't cost the business anything. And then that looks like that was kind of a question put in. So I think I covered that one. Which Golden Shovel agency clients use SizeUp? Without having the two lists to compare to mine, I can tell you that just in the last month or two, that the Tulsa Chamber, they came on board and they're a Golden Shovel customer. And I think they can attest that Golden Shovel got it up and running on their website very easy, quickly, and seamlessly. I know that Saginaw and Michigan is one as well. So those are the ones that came on recently. And yeah, it's very, very, very easy to do. And all the guys at Golden Shovel know exactly how to embed the tool. So it's no work on your end, which is always great. And then I do see another one. Who are the other economic development organizations using SizeUp? That number is large, and I don't mean that in a braggy way. I couldn't read them off to you. I know that we have a lot of customers. I don't even know if I could give a roundabout guess. I know that at some point last year, we had some presence, and in a lot of states, a lot of presence in more than half the states in the country. So it's a large number of economic development organizations. That's definitely our largest group of customers are economic development organizations.
And Mark, let me help you out with that just a little bit. Not only do they have a sizable footprint, but what it really speaks to is the integrity of their team and the tool. And it's a reliable tool, and it's one of the best testimonials you guys have. So go ahead and brag about it because you're doing great stuff.
No, and you know what? And that's an important question too. And that's why I wanted to point out that we're not just some company that popped up during a crisis. And we've been around even longer than I said, to be honest, because before there was SizeUp, we were a company that still does exist, that is now part of the Financial Times. So that company was GIS Planning. We were the same company for a long time. So GIS Planning's been around since the late 90s, and it's been around successfully, and their game is data as well. So you can feel confident that our data is going to be good and that we're not going anywhere, because of the amount of time we've been around. And then how long would it take for GSA to put this on our website? Fantastic question, because you're like, hey, I need to help businesses and I need to help them right now, not in 6 months. I know that the guys at GSA will work quickly. And as soon as we turn it over to them, I am sure they'll get it on your website very fast. I'm not going to answer for them, but if I were to, I'd say 1 hour. No, I'm just kidding. We can build the tool and have it prepared in under 2 weeks. So from the day you're like, let's move forward, you let GSA know, they will let us know, and we'll get started on that immediately. Our guys, because of how popular we've been in the last couple of months since this pandemic, we're working around the clock, nights and weekends on new tools. So we'll build your tool less than 2 weeks. You can launch this thing, in June, and have it available for all the businesses that are starting to open up. So we'll definitely work together very quickly to get it up and running for you. And then I see, how would someone who's thinking about using SizeUp to open a new business use it? I'll tell you right now, I wish every startup in the country would use our tool first to understand, let's just take it from the very start. Is this a viable business, right? Some people want to start a business and they think it's going to work, but it's just not. The numbers you put in, it's not something that can work where you're located. Our tool is going to be able to tell you that. So you're going to be able to benchmark what others who do exactly what you want to do, exactly what they're doing in total revenue and employees. How many employees does it take to run this business? Well, I can tell you exactly that within your city, county, metro, state. What's my expected revenue? Where are people at that are spending money? Where are the businesses that are performing the best? Where are my potential suppliers? Because everyone needs suppliers. Where are businesses that I can do business with? And how does that compare to where I have competitors? So where's my target market? Where are the neighborhoods spending money in this industry? If I'm thinking about opening, an ice cream shop and I want people to be able to walk to my business, where are the people in a certain demographic that are within a mile of a location that I'm considering? So if you're a startup, most startups fail. It's not, it's no secret that most startups fail. And I think a lot of that reason isn't because they're bad at the thing they do. It's because they made bad decisions about where to open or how to go about opening their businesses, or they're spending too much money up front, not saving any for later, not realizing you're not going to make as much money as you thought you could. Every entrepreneur, it's one of their biggest strengths, thinks they're the best at what they do and they think they're going to perform fantastic. But let's let the data show you how you're likely to perform, and let's make decisions off of that. So if you're somebody right now who's like, carpe diem, I'm going to control my destiny and I'm starting my business, let's use data to understand just what the environment looks like for your industry and how we can capture customers. So it's amazing for a startup. It's amazing for an existing business. Really, any size is going to be able to get information. And let's not forget, get it on their own. It's impossible for an economic developer to help. How many businesses in a week, even on your best week, if that's all you were doing, could you help? A couple dozen. This software is going to allow you to help thousands and thousands all at the same time within the same hour, because they can get it right from your website. So it's just impossible to have the manpower to help every business. This is going to help you do it.
Well, Mark, I got to tell you, I had followed you guys and had looked at your work, and especially with some of our clients, but this deep dive really solidifies for me again how valuable, especially in our times now. And even when the COVID crisis is behind us, businesses still need to be competitive and they still need this edge. And that's exactly what this gives. So you're incredibly relevant now, and you're going to be relevant in the future. So I just want to thank you, and we'll be introducing you to more of our clients as well as more people that are talking to us. We believe this is a valuable tool, and we believe this helps bring that relevance to the community development website that they're always looking for. It's not just a site out there. It really becomes a usable, powerful tool for the community. So I
Right.
think that you bring that to the table.
Yeah. And the last thing I would be remiss if I didn't say, point out that we are, if you are a Golden Shovel customer, literally not everyone's getting it. If you are a Golden Shovel customer and you have, their services already, we're waiving your setup for your first year setup fee on this tool. We're waiving for you, which is going to save you minimum of $2,000, but depending on how big of an organization you are. The price of the tool is going to be everyone's question after this. And we base that off population. So everybody's going to be a little different. So definitely work through your Golden Shovel rep, and they'll let you know exactly what your price would be, but we're waiving the setup fee. So they're going to get it onto your website with no initial first year setup fee, and we're not charging that either. And we're doing that for any new customers between May and June. So if this is something you're interested in, we're going to, for the next, I guess that's about 6 weeks, waive that first year setup fee. It's saving you a couple $1,000s, and everyone could use a couple $1,000s. So it's definitely worth doing. So reach out directly to your rep with Golden Shovel. You're welcome to reach out to me with questions as well. I'm going to know the answer to most questions. So you're welcome to reach out to me at 931-538-5575 or M as in Mark Hayes, Hays at SizeUp, SizeUp.com. And I'm happy to help you. But definitely you're going to get the best deal directly through Golden Shovel. And we're working together every day to make sure you do, and that we get this up running quickly, and that businesses in your community in June are using this tool to help themselves grow and help themselves make smart decisions. So thank you very much. Ron, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I'll just close it off, but thank you for the excellent relationship and partnership we built. And, our company, we're always customer focused. We're so happy that we can bring valuable tools to make their lives better and their jobs easier. So thank you very much for that. And I look forward to lots of introductions.
All right. Well, we look forward to it as well. And everybody stay happy, stay healthy. And I'm excited to work with you and your small businesses.